Welcome back to Coffey Talk, where we talk about real stories of real growth in companies, in strategies, and in communities. Today's episode captures one of those rare moments in business when two paths truly come together. We're talking about an acquisition, but not from the press release perspective. Instead, we're talking about the people, the relationships, and the decisions that led two organizations to realize they could do something bigger together. Joining me for this episode are two leaders many of you know in the Microsoft Business Central ecosystem. Shannon Mullins, CEO of ABC Consulting Group. She built her company with a very clear focus, bringing deep Business Central expertise to the market while building a strong, intentional culture along the way. And joining us for this conversation also is Pierre, Lemyre, CEO of Gestisoft, a company with more than 3 decades of experience in the Microsoft ecosystem and a vision for expanding the Business Central presence across North America. In this episode, we talk about the origin stories of both companies, how the relationship between these two teams began, and the moment it became clear that there was a real strategic and cultural alignment. We also look ahead, what this partnership means for the future of Business Central in North America, how the ecosystem is evolving, and what leaders should be thinking about as the market continues to grow. Shannon and Pierre, welcome to Coffey Talk.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Kate.
I am so excited about this news. I know both of you independently, and I'm just over the moon. Let's jump into it. So Shannon, tell us the story, the origin story of ABC Consulting Group. What problem are you trying to solve when you started your company?
Sure. I started ABC Consulting Group back in February of 2023. I had just built a practice with two partners called Accelerant at that time and left those two partners and didn't want to really go back and work with other partners at that point. So I, got brave enough to start my own company. That was the fourth practice I had worked on and started from scratch. And so I kind of had like the background and the knowledge to start it, but we wanted to do something a little different. We wanted to just focus specifically on Business Central and quality and bring kind of expertise and niche into the Business Central arena. So that's how we got started. And we didn't actually sell our first project, I think, until July. And so I kind of took a little bit of a hiatus, worked on websites and logos and things like that. But once we got started, it just grew from there. So yeah, it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, it's been such a treat to be front row, Shannon, with you, cheering you on as you have experienced growth. So just really excited about what's next. Pierre, let's look to you. Give us the story behind Gestisoft. What has been the company's broader vision in the market?
And in fact, Gestisoft was founded 30 years ago. So we're a company from Montreal, Canada. At that time, we were implementing backpack ERP software. So we started like that. Over the years, we really switched to Microsoft Business Solutions. So we implement GP. We added CRM to our product lines. We're now 30 years later. We call us proudly Microsoft maniacs. So we're all Microsoft, and we have a strong human culture at Gestisoft. It's really important. That's something that we want to keep. And that's something that I'm going to say, but we saw in Shannon's management. And in the market, we had organic growth for all over these years. And we always did what we did to last. We want to stay there. We want to have purpose. We want to follow the technology. So in the market, we want to be as a place where you work at Gestisoft for employees, and we want to be a partner for customer that's going to be there for a lifetime.
So the Business Central ecosystem is always changing, always evolving. How has your strategy evolved as the BC ecosystem has grown?
But first of all, even for Gestisoft, for Shannon at ABC, we started lately we started an NAV practice, but it was to go on the BC. We didn't know what would be the name at the time, but we're not an old NAV partner like from 2010. We're more GP partner at this time. So our strategy was always to be cloud only. So all our BC customer are cloud, exactly like ABC. And the strategy is that we believe in the market. We believe in this product. It's a product that is now mature, and that's why we invest. That's why we believe in that that we can have success with this product and with the joint venture.
My next question is for both of you, and it's kind of a two-part. So take whichever part of it you want to answer, whichever may resonate more with you. What are some of the differentiators in your companies as they stand today, culturally or strategically?
We actually, it was kind of fun yesterday because we got to announce to both teams that this was happening, and we've both been keeping this a secret since last April. So it was fun to meet with both those teams and talk through it. And I noticed something within both meetings. We both have very good fun cultures. I know at the second I jumped on the Gestisoft town hall meeting that they were having, everyone's throwing jokes and having a good time. And I think culture is so important. It's very important in building ABC. We have what I call a no drama culture. When people are hired, we're like, we don't do drama here. We just have fun and we get things done. And when I met Pierre and Claude and team, it seemed like they were the same way. They want to have fun. They want to grow. But at the same time, you've got to have a good culture to do that. So I think culture is a huge piece of that.
Yeah, and that's fun what Shannon's saying, because in the end, it comes to the same place. But we like to say work hard, play hard. So we want rigorous people that likes to work. I like to work. We like to work, but we like to have fun also. So work doesn't need to take all the place to have great result, and in the end, be have fun together as a team, as a group. So it's really important for us. So that's some place where I think it will be really easy for both of our organization working together. And for sure, if we differentiate some things, the thing that would be a leverage is we have more depth in the people that we have at Gestisoft, and more depth in the offering that we have, the services. But that's going to be one of the strategy that we're going to do with ABC. They're going to leverage on our people, leverage on our offering, and that's 1 + 1 = 3 that we're going to do with what we're doing. And I would say, lastly, on a strategic point of view, I think the thing for Shannon, while in our discussion, these 30 years we had struggle, but we went through a couple of phases of growth where you're stuck, where you need to invest. So we have that experience that we're going to be able to bring to the table while we work hard to have ABC getting to the next level.
Both of you said something that resonates with me in very big ways. I mean, Shannon, you talk about the culture of your team, talk about working hard to play hard. That's very much at UST. We hire a team. We are made up of an A team. We work very hard so that we can play very hard. So I understand that, and so for those things to align is so important. So how, as we kind of talk about this relationship and how this began, at what point did the relationship here move from just a partnership discussion to something more strategic?
I think I would say it went pretty quickly, where at first we talked to find if there would be a cultural fit, a strategic fit, and I think we felt it pretty quickly in the conversation. So we were able to get to the next level, in an easy way, I would say. Like I said, the cloud vision was simple for the customer. The human culture, where we select people. Shannon was talking about her people, that they're attached to her. She takes care of her. So it was really music to my ears, and that's what we try to do every day at Gestisoft. So yes, it was quick, where we were able to see the fit and being able to talk more strategically.
And to add to that, I think when we sat down for dinner in Vegas, which was last April when we were all in Vegas for directions, I had already said no to several partners. And Pierre and Claude had reached out and said, hey, do you want to go to dinner? And let's go have a great time. And we sat there for 2 or 3 hours over some very good red wine, which was not why I said yes. But it was just a really good, easy conversation. There was no, like Pierre said, it wasn't It wasn't forced. We weren't trying to say, okay, do we have to make any changes to make this happen? It just seemed very natural. And I think that was, in my gut, I was like, okay, this is a really good fit for us and a good fit for their team for strategy here in North America.
That is a perfect segue, Shannon, into a question that I have for Pierre. From Gestisoft's perspective, why is securing a business central practice in North America so important to you right now specifically?
There's a couple of things. First of all, we think that for customer angle, they want people, local people, people around them. So yes, we grew organically within the 30 years, but to expand our market, that's our strategy. I said we are Microsoft maniacs. So we don't want to add other products, other ERP solution. We want to be a Microsoft business app. So doing that, you need to expand your territory. So the strategy was not to try to do it ourselves. So we want to try to find the best companies with the right fit for the culture and strategy, where we can just join venture together and be able to. It's going to be the foundation of what we want to do in our U.S. expansion and North American expansion, in fact.
Yeah, bigger footprint. Shannon, you said that when you sat down and through that conversation, that your intuition was just checking all the boxes. Can you pinpoint what made Gestisoft the right partner for the next stage of your own growth?
Pierre and Louis and Claude and the whole team. And I've just started to meet a lot of the other leadership team over the last couple of weeks as we've completed this deal, have all just been super great and friendly and nice and kind, which I think says a lot about the leadership that, Gestisoft has. And that's how we've operated here at ABC even before this acquisition. And so I think, I met with a lot of partners, I will not mention names, that were just, they came in and said, hey, do you know who we are? And this is how great we are. And we do this and we do that. And it wasn't a conversation about how we could be strategic together. It was a conversation of more like just swallowing up ABC and we're just another acquisition. And I didn't feel like Gestisoft was at all in that. We just want to, get ABC and get rid of you and move on and grow. That wasn't ever a strategy or conversation we had. And so it was just, I think the alignment on, my career goals over the next 4 years and their career goals in North America and expansion goals in North America were very aligned. And I think that was really where I was like, okay, this will be a good fit. And the whole time also thinking about my team, right? As Pierre said, I have a very dedicated team and a lot of them came on board because of me and they've been hand selected. And I've always had a waiting list of people to hire here in the North America. I was very cautious of, we don't want to disrupt the team to where, when this happens, it's going to be a bad experience for them. So it's overall worked.
Yeah. The one thing I can say about both of you is that you are both very steady and consistent leaders. You're not easily shaken. You make really smart strategic choices. Now, I imagine for you, Shannon, that is in you, that steady strategic leadership. You picked that up in Pierre immediately. There's a lot to be said for that, because when you are going into, joining companies, joining missions, to know that you have that camaraderie in that kind of leadership. I respect you both so much as leaders, and my cheeks are sore from the smiles from hearing this news. So let's put our eyes to the future a little bit. This question is for both of you. How do you both see the Business Central ecosystem evolving over the next few years? You both have talked about your strategic goals over the next 4, 8, 10 years. Where do you see us going?
As we all know, Business Central is blowing up. It's absolutely blowing up, especially here in North America. We've won 4 or 5 deals lately against NetSuite. Which I don't normally call it NetSuite, but I will for your podcast. And they're our main competitor here in North America, especially. And so the expertise that Pierre and his team are going to bring with marketed packages really resonates with me, because we've always done flat rate projects. So making these projects very simple for the customer to choose. Not that we can't do more complex projects, but having a real clear goal on what we're going to be selling and how we're going to be reaching this market, but really going out there and having an army full of people now versus just 10 of us to go out there and say, okay, We are Business Central experts. We have expertise across, Canada and North America. We bring a wealth of knowledge. And then on top of that, having the CRM and the Azure and the M365 capabilities as well will make us a big powerhouse here in the States. So I see really good growth happening. We've always been busy, but I see that picking up way more. And especially, and Pierre knows this too, because they came from GP as well, this GP to BC migration market that we're seeing here in North America, there's a huge opportunity as customers are making plans to prepare to move to somewhere, and hopefully that place will be Business Central.
Yes, I fully agree. And I think, like I said, we had a choice to make in 2017, I think, when we went to Nav, because Microsoft people told us that it would be the cloud solution, ERP solution of the future that Microsoft was investing in. So we think the market is large, where you can scale Business Central from really small companies to bigger companies. We know we have FNO for the higher scale company, but it leaves us really a good market. And for Microsoft, I think the Business Central product, for the growth year over year, every year, it's really a success. So we believe that we can really leverage that. And you talk about the timing. I think it's the right timing to just add forces to be able to deliver more, be able to be more out there, and join the capabilities and everything that we do to make more companies using that solution to be more efficient and realize their business objective.
You both have said it, you're winning deals right and left. As we continue to grow and as there's more consolidation, do you foresee any challenges that partners may be facing as we continue to grow?
I think personally, and Pierre, I'm sure you can speak of this too. I know resources has been a huge challenge. Of course, I've had people wanting to work for me, so I think that's not so much a challenge. But I think the more we grow and scale, we'll be relying on each other to cross use our resources. But also, we've had really good conversations just even last week about talking about how can we start to use AI for training, AI for process documentation, and we're seeing this big change. And rather than keep throwing people at this, hopefully throw some AI and tools at it to help leverage to make this process easier so that you can scale. So I think the AI is going to totally change the way that we implement within the next decade. There's no doubt about it. But I think between our two teams and the ideas that we both have running our practices and how we've done things, coming together and collaborating on that and using best of practice, I think will be great. And hopefully that will help us scale, more in the future as we grow.
Yeah, I think partners should not be scared about consolidation. There will still be place for smaller partner, for bigger partner. There's a demand in the market. I think partners should be scared about AI. They need to evolve. They need to invest in AI. They need to be prepared to transform the way they deliver. That's the scaring thing within the Business Central ecosystem. And for us, that we're scared for a long time ago. So we're investing for more than 2 years in our AI skilling. So that's a thing that we're going to be ready. And that's something that we're going to be able to bring to the table with what we do with Shannon's team at ABC.
We know that this was a very strategic decision. Acquisitions are strategic decisions, but they're also very personal journeys. So, looking at your leadership, I said I respect both of you as leaders. What leadership lessons have you taken away from this experience?
I will take this one, Shannon.
Okay.
That's one thing that I put a lot of value on it on in my own experience. Shannon and I, we set it straight what we wanted on each side. We agreed on things verbally, but it's another thing to do the process and do it on paper. And you want to work with people that stay with their words. So, within a process like that, you talk, you agree verbally, you need to agree to the letter of intent. So that's one step where you have more details. And, people say devil's in the details. That's where you can screw up, but it's not the end of the game. After you sign the letter of intent, you need to do the final real contract. And there are other details in that contract. But it created a lot of trust for my point of view for Shannon, because she didn't try to gain something more. I didn't do it on our side also, but that's something that's really important when you really want to create a long-time relationship, when you want to create a win-win situation. don't try to win small victory with something that has not been said. Keep the alignment. Keep with what was the real agreement, verbal, and we did it from that for all this time, because we were talking for more than a year now. So so thank you, Shannon, for all this commitment that you did and sticking to your words.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I've learned a lot of patience because if you've never been through one of these acquisitions before, the amount of time you spend sending documents and dealing with lawyers will about make you lose your mind. At one point, I told Pierre, I said, what did I say to you, Pierre? I said, I just want to sell and implement Dynamics. I'm ready for this to be over because it is a long process. And I think a lot of people, and I will say this to anyone who's thinking about acquisition or in the process of it, you always have a timeline in your mind. And we both had timelines in our mind. And that timeline obviously passed. To the fact that we closed this on the day I had surgery. And it is what it is. But you have to have a lot of patience and you have to work together on getting everything complete. And so the kind of nice thing about the due diligence phase and the contracting phase is you get to know the other side pretty well because you're both having to work with third parties and everything to make this happen. But like I said, Pierre and his team have been great and they kept to their word as well. And of course, the nerves, I think, coming into this after I came back from surgery, because obviously we hadn't told anyone and I'm coming back and meeting with the leadership. I had a lot of nerves just because, with these acquisitions, people can be one way before the acquisition and another way after the acquisition. And I didn't expect that was going to happen. But at the pit of my stomach, I was like, okay, hopefully this will be good. But our first leadership meetings and everything we've had, meeting all the leadership team, it's been great. And everyone's just been super nice, super easy to work with. And we've been helping each other out. And so I think, yeah, it's been a good process overall, but it's definitely taught me a lot of patience.
Yeah. That's the foundation of trust, right? Like you both said that you could trust each other throughout this entire process, that one of you isn't going to try and get an upper hand on the other. And that is the foundation that you're building to do business together. Beyond the press release, once the press release has been out and the word is out, what do you hope the ecosystem understands about this partnership?
The thing in the end is, it's not a deal to make a deal. We want to be sustainable together. We want to have real plans. We really want to leverage what we're doing together. I think you're gonna see that in the press release. And okay, what's will not be in the press release? No, we've met Shannon's team for the first time yesterday. That was a great meeting. I was really happy and to meet them. And we had a team meeting at Gestisoft where I explained the acquisition to them. And in the end of the meeting, Shannon just came up. Everybody was camera on, and Shannon was able to explain from what's her background, and people were really happy to meet her. So yes, that was a perfect day yesterday. Great day, really exciting.
I think it's going to be interesting over the next couple of years, and this is something that you can't announce in a press release. But I think because of the resources we're going to have now with Gestisoft and both of our teams, I think we're going to become a real player here in the North America as we expand in North America. And I think this is a big news for America, because it's not very often that a smaller partnership like us gets bought up by somebody who's a direct Microsoft reseller, which is huge. And that's going to give us a lot more resources, not only with Microsoft, but also just with the market itself and what we can do. And so I think that's really going to help us blow up and grow here in North America. So I think, on top of our culture alignment and what we're going to be doing, I think it'll be very interesting to see where we are 2 years from now.
I would say, honestly, with what I'm adding with what Shannon says now, it's like we're in the exciting moment, because it was exhausting in the end. Just having every time we thought it was ending, it was never ending. We had another paper thing to go through, but now it's the fun part. I can tell you also that all my leadership team have scheduled Shannon, so they all had conversation. They're really happy with working with her. So I think it's the beginning of a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the future it's going to be very exciting. Even my team, as though this was a shock. And like Pierre said, we were waiting to tell everybody. And I think both Pierre and I today, it's a sigh of relief, not only recording your podcast, because today is Friday and I don't know when this will air, but we finally got to tell our customers and our employees. So now it's public and we can let people know. And I think that's a really good feeling after working so hard for this. So yeah. And also just wanted to say, Kate, thank you for doing this for us.
Of
I
course.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, truly. So it is Friday, March 6th, and this episode will be live on Monday. So I thank you for letting Coffey Talk host the story of this. Congratulations to both of your teams. I think it's a win for both of you. Moments like this are the reason I made Coffey Talk. This is the reason Coffey Talk exists. It reminds me that our relationships really do matter. And sometimes those relationships lead to something bigger than either side ever originally imagined. So thank you both. Today we got to hear the story behind two companies, how they found alignment and they chose to move together to make a bigger impact. So again, congratulations to both of you, to both of your teams. Thank you so much for sharing. Guys, until next time, this has been Coffey Talk. Thank you for joining us today on Coffey Talk. A special thanks to my guests for sharing their story and to you, the listener, for being a part of this conversation. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a Monday morning chat. Until next time, I'm Kate Coffey-Bacon, and this has been Coffey Talk.